Welcome back to Founded in Transcreation with Natali Lekka this time. She's a translator, transcreator, and writer working from English and French into Greek. We've been having a very interesting discussion so far, and I trust that this second part to episode 4 will be perhaps even more interesting. As Natali, when we were trying to think of what creative challenge we could actually work on for this episode, I suggested a few jingles, a few slogans, and she came up with an idea which I think is brilliant, to critically analyze, deconstruct rather, how the Oreo worldwide famous commercial Wonderfilled from the Wonderfilled campaign was transcreated into several languages. Of course, the ones that we're going to focus on are our mother tongues, Natalie's Greek and my Spanish, if I may use the possessive pronoun for languages. And before we do that, just some quick facts about the brand, about Oreo. Oreo is known by some as the brand that became more than just a cookie. The name Oreo was first trademarked on March the 14th in 1912, and Sam Porcello is the name of the food scientist that is actually credited with inventing the Oreo cookies' creamy, pasty, stick-together feeling, and he died not long ago in March in 2012. He is widely known as Mr. Oreo. Nabisco is the national biscuit company, a merger of several baking companies into the corporation that would create eventually the Oreo cookie. And there is in fact a theory that suggests that the Oreo by Nabisco is a copycat of Hydrox. Yes, it sounds weird, it sounds like chemistry related, but it's actually the trademark for a cookie by Sunshine Biscuit, which apparently was the original Oreo. Oreo is the best-selling cooking brand in the 21st century. And nowadays you can find Oreo cookies in ice cream, churros, popcorn, cappuccinos, frappuccinos, cakes, and more delicious desserts. If you're interested in seeing or hearing some more quick facts about the product and the brand and the branding behind Oreo, you should watch the video on YouTube by Thrylist entitled The History of Oreos. So Natalie, welcome back. Do you often eat Oreos?
Not often. I do eat them, yeah. I think they were probably bigger in the States than they were in Greece. So I now live in the UK, obviously, so you do find them a lot as well, in ice creams especially. Yes, I have eaten them. They're not my favorite biscuits, but they're quite good. So
yes, yeah, same here. And what's your favorite biscuit? If it's a branded one or not, I don't know. Maybe it's a homemade.
Biscuit. I'm not I prefer pure chocolate. I'm like the classic chocolate person.
Yeah, me too. I'm not much into biscuits. In fact, I prefer cheesecakes, lemon pie, and apple pies, like full desserts and pudding. Yes. I love pastries, but biscuits, yeah, unless they are my mom's homemade biscuits, I'm not into buying biscuits. But like you said, in Argentina, it's very, very common to find ice cream flavors like cookies and cream.
Yeah.
It's the typical name. Cookies and cream, and then I've seen McDonald's create something like the McFlurry or something that includes, I think, because I'm not a consumer of desserts outside in general, but I think they introduce Oreo cookies. It's like it's a product that has been combined with other products, and some, it's in consumers' minds and tongues. It's connected with others. It's like you can't have one without the other for some people. And when you've eaten Oreos, or when you occasionally do, are you the kind of person who would split the two parts of the cookie, just or
as they say, lick it, dip it, dunk it, whatever they say. I don't do that. I used to do that with other biscuits when I was a kid. And I do remember some when I was a child, we had the biscuits like that, but they didn't have white, they were chocolate inside. So I would eat the chocolate and just leave the biscuit. That's typical of me. I was 5 at the time. Now if I was to eat an Oreo, I think I would eat it, I don't know, all of it. Well, like I wouldn't open it in half, which is probably the wrong way to eat it. I don't know, because the brand says that you need to open it, lick it, dunk it into milk, and there's a special kind of procedure for that.
Yes, I think it's part of the branding too. You know, when you I mean, it's part of their differentiators, right? The difference between buying just any cookie and buying an Oreo is that, well, the Oreo comes with a set of instructions, like you said, and so you feel like, oh, there's a method here, a process.
It's a USP. It's the brand's USP, basically. Yeah, telling us how to do it.
Yes. And it's milk's favorite cookie, according to their slogan. So we have to dip it into milk.
Yeah.
Well, I know lots of people who will be listening to this podcast in Argentina, and they will find this irresistible and probably go buy some more Oreos. So we should charge some royalties for this content.
Yes.
Afterwards. Okay, so anyway, why did you propose that we focus on the Wonderfilled campaign when we were, exchanging emails?
I find it very interesting. First of all, I do like the idea of working with a food or drinks brand. It's a kind of lifestyle brand as well, in a way, which I do like. And I find the word Wonderfilled, it's just one word, but there's so much to talk about it. And it has, as I will show later when I talk about the Greek version, it has actually been translated in a way in Greek. But they have kind of kept it open. I have found lots of different versions of this translation. And so, by itself, Wonderfilled is a play on words, because you could say, oh, it reminds me of wonderful, and obviously eating Oreo is wonderful. But also it's filled with something wonderful, something great, which is the milk. So there's so many things to talk about it. So I thought it would be a quite interesting challenge for both languages. So
yes, I agree, and I want to thank you, because I had no idea about this campaign. I hadn't heard of it until I actually started doing some research when you suggested that we use this for this podcast.
There's a song as well. It's not just Wonderfilled. It's an entire song which rhymes or which has, it's really interesting. It's very nice, and it's very kind of sonorous as well. And we'll play the songs later. So
yes, I'll be playing the song in a few seconds. Just a few facts about the campaign. It was launched in 2013 as an animated campaign that's been described as fanciful, upbeat, humorous, optimistic, positive, in several articles on the web. The ending lyrics are particularly appealing, with "I wonder how it would change your point of view if I gave one to you," with one standing as a synonym in an instantial relationship with Oreo cookie, if I gave an Oreo cookie to you. It's basically animated storytelling through a catchy song. I think it's very catchy. don't listen to it before you're planning to take a nap or just, go to sleep, because you keep hearing it in your head. It's a song that imagines, that tells a story, right? Before the boom of storytelling in advertising in 2012, we have this brand using storytelling through a song, which ends up becoming sort of an installation, a musical installation in several different cities across the world. You will find lots of information about this on YouTube, and it's actually been referred to by not just the brand as the Wonderfilled anthem. So it's not just a song, it's an anthem, right? That was written by the Martin Agency creative director Dave Mullenfeld and performed by singer and songwriter Adam Young. And the spot, which is the one piece that we're going to focus on right now, has 30, 60, and 90-second versions and was available at the brand's website for quite a long time. And the brand still uses this idea, like Natali mentioned, of a cookie filled with wonder. What do you think? Shall I play a little bit of the English version so that our listeners get an idea of the source?
Yeah, how long is the version, the one you're going to play?
Oh, just a couple of seconds, about 20
seconds.
Yeah. In English, I mean. The last few parts, because it's actually 1 minute and 20 seconds long, the original version, the full version in English. All right, so I'll do that.
Wonder if I gave an Oreo, wonder if I gave an Oreo to somebody out there who I didn't know, would they laugh after I'd gone, or would they pass that wonder on? I wonder how it changed your point of view if I gave one to you.
Okay, well, just in case, no copyright infringement intended, I'm using a video that's been posted by Mr. Someone HK channel under the section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as the ones that we're going to use with Natali right now: criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. So this is fair use, permitted by copyright statute. That is not intending to infringe any copyright, credited to the people that we've already mentioned: songwriters, Martin Company, and Oreo. So that was the source in English. Would you like to start, Natali, with presenting how the song was transcreated into Greek, the 13-second version, perhaps?
Yes. So I'm gonna play the song first. And
Okay.
I'm also using a video from YouTube, which is in the public domain. So I'm gonna play it first. Then I'm going to, for those that don't speak Greek, I'm gonna just read the back translation, which I did, and then I'll talk about it because I think it's quite interesting.
Σου να δεινά ένα ωραίο στον ίδιο τον κόμι Δράκουλα. Μα δεν θα προτιμούσε, με την κυρά του θα γλεντούσε. Πάρτι μεγάλα μέχρι το πρωί, αυτή είναι ζωή. Σκέψου να δεινά ένα ωραίο.
So that was the Greek version. All right. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, the first thing is, this is a podcast, so I would encourage people to actually go and look up the English one, at least, to see the visuals. Because the visuals in English, in the Greek one, the Spanish one, they have this friendly vampire in it. And then obviously in some versions, they talk about other things as well. In the English one, they have the three little pigs, so they've got some fairy tales.
Yeah. Yes.
Now the Greek one it's just decided to focus on the vampire, which they called Count Dracula. So while the song talks about how would you feel if I gave you an Oreo, the actual song, the Greek song, talks about the Dracula and what the Dracula or Count Dracula would do if he got the Oreo. I'm going to read, I'm not singing, but I'm going to read the back translation of what you just heard. So just to have an idea of what the lyrics are saying. What if I gave an Oreo to Count Dracula himself? He wouldn't prefer blood. He would have the time of his life, a party with milk until the morning. This is the life. What if I gave an Oreo? And then it ends with Wonderfilled, which in Greek, it has been translated. So well, for starters, I find it interesting that they decided to do, this is a 30-second ad, and they decided to just focus it on Dracula, but on the vampire. So just on one part of the visuals. Because the other languages, they have that same part of visuals, but then they add other visuals. They've also they must have created some additional visuals for the Count Dracula ad, because there are some visuals in the Greek one which you don't have them at all in the Spanish one or the English one. And at the end, Wonderfilled has been translated as Yemato Fantasia, which means full of imagination, right?
Sounds like fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy. Well, full of fantasy or imagination. You could say the same thing. Now I have to say that I have actually, before I found this ad, I did find some other Oreo ads in Greek, and they have translated Wonderfilled in different ways. I did find it also as Yemato Hara, which is full of joy. So I see that not only did they actually translate it, but they are being a bit liberal with the translation. And what they did basically is that they took the filled part of Wonderfilled, and they said, how do we say that in Greek? Filled is Yemato, so full of, and then they started adding some words. So full of imagination, full of joy. I could even add full of wonder. You could say a lot of things.
Right.
So I do find it interesting, but I think the interesting will come up once you talk about the Spanish one. So then we get to kind of see the differences. So would you like to do the Spanish version?
Yes. Okay. So just before going to the song itself, I want to say that I tried using my brains to create a one-word equivalent in Spanish of Wonderfilled, and I failed. I mean, I also had to sort of paraphrase the idea. What I did was put Wonderfilled in the center of a blank page and start creating, actually sketching some associations. Also because the song in English, what I realized is that they use wonder in two different ways. As wonder, the noun, that may mean this thing connected with positive surprise, amusement, amazement, imagination, fantasy, blah, blah, blah. But then they also use wonder, the verb, as, what if, right? I wonder if. And all the constructions, we have the same word, two different parts of speech connected in the campaign, in the lyrics, used as a verb and as a noun. So I started with, a little bit about grammar, the idea that Wonderfilled, what's the concept about? So I wrote, well, the fact that an Oreo can change the world and people's behavior for the better. So we have optimism, enthusiasm, faith, hope. All those emotions are actually conveyed by the song, not just the lyrics, the music, the voice, the songwriter and singer that was actually hired to do the job. So I was trying to find one word that would be, of course, an invented word, a coinage in Spanish, and I created something which is hard to back translate, but I will try to do that. For example, one is relleno maravilloso, which would be something like what? Okay, because you know Spanish, but not everyone will. It's quite complicated. Wonderful feeling would be something like that. So relleno would be the filling, and maravilloso is actually a coinage, a blending maravilloso, the literal
with
equivalent
Oreo.
of wonderful, with Oreo, right? And then I thought of, always thinking, how could we name this campaign in Spanish without using the English Wonderfilled, right? So another option was Mundo Maravilloso, with alliteration, mundo for world. So something like Oreo Wonderful World, something like that. And then I
like your suggestions. You
okay.
Oreo, I think.
I thought maybe, yes, they are okay, but I think maybe we are already using two different words, and in one case it's already coinage, so it might be too much. I'm not sure. If we're thinking of the target audience, kids and families, preteens, well, I know it's a cookie for everyone, right? You and I, we're not youngsters, but certainly not anymore. But we still like Oreos. We're not big fans, but we like them. But this campaign, with being an animated campaign, maybe could be something like mundo, world. And then
So it's fine. Sometimes you can't do one word,
No. And then I found an article that suggested a translation for Wonderfilled, which was Galleta Maravilla, like the Wonder Cookie, like Wonder Woman, the Wonder Cookie. I liked it. It wasn't, for me, as wow, but as Wonderfilled. Wonderfilled is, I even like how it tastes in my mouth to say the word, right? The articulation involved and everything. So it's quite complicated. I realized that, not realized, but was reminded of the fact that transcreation too has its boundaries and limits when it comes to form, right? When there is a play upon words that's too much based on the form of the source language. The challenge is so big that sometimes it may be impossible to render a one-word coinage into a one-word equivalent in a target language.
Which is why, and then in Spanish it has remained in English, hasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, they kept it. They kept Wonderfilled as Wonderfilled, and articles in Spanish refer to the campaign using the name in English. But we have the translation in Spanish, in actually neutral or Latin American Spanish, because the form of address is tú, which is the one used for Spain. It's not the one that some parts in Argentina we use tú for an informal form of address, meaning you, but we are known for actually using vos, which is the more local colored version somehow. Okay, so I'll play the Spanish version, which is also the 32nd version, the same that Natali played. Well, not the same because it's a translation in Greek. I'll play the one in Spanish.
Si le diera una Oreo a una persona que no conozca, se burlaría de mí o compartiría ese sentir que sucedería si te diera una Oreo a ti.
All right, so that was the Spanish version, again in the public domain. Where do we start with the comparison now?
Well, I talked about the visuals, which is why I think it's very important to see that, because they only share a bit of this visual about the vampire, and then everything changes. The Greek one just focuses on the vampire, and they even add a few other visuals that are not in the English and the Spanish, and the Spanish one just goes on with other things.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you. It's true. The visuals show Count Dracula and then the wolf and the three little pigs, which are not reflected in the lyrics in Spanish. The lyrics in Spanish, I will back translate them as you did, just so we get an idea. Say something like, si le diera un Oreo a una persona que no conozca, I wonder if I gave an Oreo to someone I didn't know, would they mock me or would they share that feeling? What would happen if I gave an Oreo to you? That would be the back translation with absolutely no rhyme or anything. So the Count Dracula is not mentioned. The little pigs and the wolf aren't referred to either in the lyrics. Just like you said, Natalie, we could take this as either a clash between the lyrics and the visuals, or as the lyrics supplementing the visuals. But I think it's still weird. I mean, for me as a watcher, to see it, I mean, why would they pick these animated cartoons or whatever famous fairy tale characters if the lyrics go about, what if I gave this to someone I didn't know in advance? Why wouldn't just they represent the lyrics with children, with people, right? People, not necessarily fairy tale characters. I think it's a lot of information to process on the visual level and on the hearing level. I mean, for the first time you see the ad, it may be too much, like a combination of things. And then you get used to it and you sing along on the visuals somehow, probably.
In the Greek version, they just keep it all 30 seconds with visuals about the Dracula. And they're talking about the Dracula as well.
Yes.
Wonder if I gave an Oreo to Count Dracula himself. He wouldn't want blood. He would want to have a party until the morning with milk, and that's the life and stuff like that. But then if you think about it, okay, the visuals make perfect sense with the lyrics, but to me as well, it's weird. Why would you talk about a Dracula?
Yeah, yes.
It just doesn't make sense. Of all things, why the Dracula?
Of all things, exactly. Yes. Well, that was my first reaction to the source in English, right? It was also my first reaction when of all things, why show these things? Also, that they are so negative and graphic. I mean, blood, vampires, wolf, the big bad wolf. I mean, and then I thought, well, maybe they were so focused on featuring the Oreo cookie as the one positive, wonderful thing that these characters could take, so to be completely transformed into positive beings in the world, that they thought it was fair to resort to them in the first place. Still, it's weird for me. Maybe this is a very subjective reaction, but it's weird, right?
Obviously, we said that the Oreo is for adults as well. But there's obviously some kind of makes you think of fairy tales. You have the Three Pigs and the Wolf, that's a fairy tale. And Dracula, and the way it has been designed, it doesn't make you think of Nosferatu. It's kind of like a friendly vampire, like a friendly vampire. So you could say their kids might see that and say, oh, look, that's so cool, and let's buy it. But yes,
and these fairy tales are also known by us, the grown-ups. So the brand probably knows that they are targeting a wide audience, and if the kid sees it, will be quite impacted by, on so many different levels, several senses, by listening to it, by seeing it, the colors, the tone, everything is like a full orchestra of instruments somehow trying to elicit their response, and the kids will start nagging the parents to get the Oreos. I didn't have time to do some research on the packaging to see whether these characters were actually stamped on the packaging or something, but they probably were, so that the visual part of the campaign was still stimulating the buy of the purchase for the kids and the adults in the supermarkets or stores. It was weird, yes, but I think that the Spanish strategy on a language level was to omit the names of the characters altogether, focus on the last part of the lyrics. The visuals are the same, but it works, and it leaves me feeling like, how lovely. Like, oh yeah, the world could be better with an Oreo, you know. And well, I tried some reworking in Spanish. I will be very brief with this because there may be people among the audience who may not know Spanish. But okay, so the official version is: si le diera una Oreo a una persona que no conozca, se burlaría de mí, would they mock me, o compartiría ese sentir. And the word wonder has been also omitted. The idea of passing the wonder on has been omitted. So I was thinking about something like, o sería como yo feliz, cómo cambiaría todo con una Oreo para ti, una Oreo que te di. Well, some variations of the official version. I don't know. I think it's quite okay. I mean, other than
the wonder element is gone from the Greek as well.
Too. Okay.
So it doesn't. It starts with skepsuan, which is like think if, which you could translate as wonder if, but the Wonderfilled is gone because it's full of joy or full of imagination in this case, because full of joy would be weird after seeing an ad with a vampire. Maybe they thought full of joy, maybe not. So let's translate it full of imagination. So Wonderfilled has become full of imagination.
Right. And do you have any idea of how it was received by the Greek community?
I don't know actually, and I might have not even been in Greece. That was 2013, right. Wasn't it? Yeah. So I don't have experience about that. So. But I know that there are ads, and there's still ads for Oreo, different ones, and they're usually quite well received and easily recognizable as well. So
yes. Well, I asked. I know a guy who used to work for an ad agency that was working on some copy for Oreo Argentina, and I asked him about this campaign, and he didn't quite remember Wonderfilled as the campaign proper, but he said that they are probably still using rellena de maravillas, filled with wonder.
Yeah,
as a back translation. He's no longer working on that account, so he couldn't give me as much insight as I expected, but apparently it's still recognized as such. And well, Oreo is quite a favorite among many people I know, grown-ups and kids alike, and everything. Would you like to sing to the English version? We could end the you will kill me from a distance, but would you dare? The English version,
okay.
the last few parts, the last few lyrics. Okay, let me.
Okay.
This wasn't planned for. I tried doing it yesterday and I was so bad at it, but if we do it together, I think it will be fun.
If I gave an Oreo to somebody out there who I didn't know, would they laugh after I'd gone, or would they pass that wonder on? I wonder how it changed your point of view if I gave one to you.
Okay. End of the torturous part of this episode for both you and the listeners. Well, that didn't go very well, especially because of the think part, but stay until the end of the episode because I will be sharing with you Natali singing and my singing separately because I asked her to do that and she kindly did so, and I did so myself. So yes, you can absolutely laugh at us and at each of us. Stay tuned till the end. Well, thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much for presenting this episode with me, for taking this challenge as if it were a live job with as much professionalism and creativity, and with your devotion and time investment in this project. I really, really hope it will be something to enjoy, laugh at. Well, I wonder if they would laugh at us by listening to this. Wonder if they, but anyway, it's been a very, very good way to start my Saturday. It's a Saturday for us. So Natalie is in the UK, I'm in Argentina. Thank you. And well, I will let you round up the
Thank you
episode
very
if
much
you'd like to.
for having me. I had a really nice time, a really great time. We also obviously talked about something that we really enjoy, both of us, but I think that Oreo campaign made it even more interesting and more exciting, and the singing part as well, and the music and the songs, and everything was great. And the visuals, you can't see them on the podcast, but guys, do go and check out the videos. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And as promised, you will now hear Natali Lekka and myself, Delfina Morganti Hernández, sing to the Oreo commercial. Brace yourself!
Wonder if I gave an Oreo. Wonder if I gave an Oreo to somebody out there who I didn't know. They love after I've gone. Would they pass that wonder on? Wonder how it's your point of view. I gave one to you.
Wonder if I gave an Oreo. Wonder if I gave an Oreo to somebody out there who I didn't know. Would they laugh after I'd gone, or would they pass that wonder on? I wonder how it changed your point of